Good morning, I'm Berta. I participated before, but I'm new in the district where I am working, and I'm happy that you shared this. I did not know I received an invitation. So I hope next year I can have more participation in the district from the parents because I don't think they even know this exists. Thank you, Berta. We will really like to collaborate. I got in touch with the bilingual department coordinator and I told her and she said there's no money and I said no, this is virtual, so it's free, because previously there was some type of cost to register parents, but they said they weren't going to do anything because they didn't have money. So I said, hello, you just received a lot of money, and this for parents, these are vitamins to know how to do this exercise. This is basic. So I am very happy to have received this direct communication from the organizers so that I can share it with the parents of my district, because otherwise we do not get to know about it. Anna, welcome to all who have taken this call. And this session is going to be recorded. So if you would like, after that, you can send it to the district or to other parents that maybe were not able to be with us today so that they can have the material. Good morning to you all. I am Ramon Fragoso, and it's the first time that I participate in this type of event. I am Harley 122 in the Roca School, Love Park, and the director, Dominguez, was the one. And this is the first time we received this type of invitation, but with a lot of interest and very encouraged. Thank you. Thank you to you all. So I will keep on. We can begin with the presentation, as I am really encouraged that we have so many parents here. And for us also, it's good to have this type of virtual presentation because almost every year it's live. But you know, right now, I am really happy because I can feel all this energy. We are punctual, we continue. So this session is called How Advocating for Your Child at School. And it is important to carry out the title because if you are in the wrong session, you cannot have time to change. But we hope that you stay here because I think this is a subject that is very important and very interesting. My name is Rebecca Vonderlack-Navarro, and I am from an organization that is called Latino Policy Forum, and I am the director of education, and I'm really happy to be here with my colleagues, Mrs. Erika Mendez, Senior Analyst on Educational Policies, Rosario Hernández, Educational Policies Analyst. In our organization, we center on education, of course, and we are the educational team. We also work in migration, lodging, and we have a leadership project for Latin American and Afro Americans. But today, of course, we are centering on education, and we are really happy to be here. And these are the objectives for today that we would like to cover. Why is it important to advocate for the education of your children? The challenges with remote learning, virtual remote learning, and economic stimulus that come from the federal government, and how we can this fund, this financing that comes from the government help schools. And this is important because you as parents can advocate at your local level in how to use that money to help your children, because that money, there has to be a focus for children learning English, and that's part of the priorities. So you as important leaders in your school, it is important that you know if this money reaches the school, but how can you use this money in a way for your children specifically? So then we would like to learn on the importance of federal investments in the public education system and the impact of your voice in the decisions making. This is the very important objective that we have today. And the question that we have now is, why is it important to advocate for the education of your children? Why?
Y si en este momento ustedes quieren usar la chat
Right
box
now,
para dejar
if
sus
you would like to
respuestas
use the chat box
para esta
for
pregunta,
your
¿saben
answers
ustedes
for
por qué
that
es
question,
importante de
we would
abogar
like
por
to
la
hear
educación
from
de sus
you. Why
hijos?
is it
Les vamos a
important to
dar como dos
advocate for the
minutos de verdad
education of your children? We're
para
going to give you
contestar
one or
estas
two
preguntas.
minutes
Se las voy a
so
leer.
that we can receive answers, and then I'm going to read them to you.
Y si alguien también quiere compartir,
And if someone would like to
quitarse
share
de mute y hablar en vez de
and
escribirlo en
stop
el chat,
mute
también
and
puede
speak
hacerlo
instead
en
of
este
writing on
momento.
the chat,
¿Por qué es
this can
importante
also be done at this point.
de
Why is
abogar
it
por la
important
educación de sus
to
hijos, verdad? Y lo
advocate for the
necesitamos
education
todos.
of your
Por
children,
favor,
for child at
participen, es
school? So
importante.
please
Yo sé
participate.
que
It is
hay mucho
important.
conocimiento
I know
sobre este
that there's
tema.
a lot of knowledge on this subject. Here we have to obtain the best possible education. Estelvina, that they will be better prepared. Marta, because children cannot advocate for themselves. And as parents, we have the strength to ensure that our children have the best education and social and emotional support. I'm happy that they talk about this. Luisa, the education for my little girl is important so that I can give her the tools for her education so that she will be prepared. Ramon, to take advantage to the utmost all the available programs, especially for children with special needs. This is important from the perspective of this person. Elizabeth, we know, but that the problem is when they don't hear us. Olga, so that our children take advantages of the benefits to better help and advocate for students, especially bilingual students, because this will help the best development of possible education, and that they will have the best tools for their professional life, personal life, and emotional life. So one more, Viviana, be- because it is the right of any person for a better development, and they can become better persons and help more people. So Christina, just one more. This is the base of their future, and it can be a person that will be good for society in all aspects. I love this feedback. We have two parents that have raised their hand. We will begin with Lilia and then Rocio. Good morning. I believe that we are very lucky to be able to have been educated in many cases in other countries. And now we can see, we can compare that with the education here. And somehow, in a critical way, responsible way, and an intelligent way, we can decide what things we can attract for, with benefits, with the education that we have received in other countries and here. And this, obviously, our children do not know this, and we are the only voice that they can have to improve their education. I love that you're talking about resources that come from your own countries and knowledge that is very important that can be taken advantage of here. Someone else? Erika? Rocio? Good morning. Thank you for the time that you provide because you are also educating us with this program. because we can get to know tools so that we can help our children and so that we can be involved. As well as Lilia commented, we were educated in our countries and we know that we have to be supporting our children because we are their strength and we are, encouraging them. And it is important to be involved. Thank you for this time. And I know that I'm going to learn very much so that I can provide support for my children so that they can make progress. Because maybe we have timid children or someone that they don't want to talk, but through us, we are going to investigate and encouraging them so that they will not lag behind because there are many organizations that can help them to go forward and that their dreams become true because this is a country of opportunities and through us and organizations that we find out and that we get involved with, we can provide them support. I love this, Rocio. And we have more comments here, but it is important because from this depends the learning to be able to go farther. And this is what Rocio commented also, to go farther in their development because they will take advantage of the programs. Liliana, what parents we don't do for our children, no one else will do it for our kids. Thank you. I love that. Why, Ojeda, why parents are with the boys and we are the most interested in learning and education of our children. And you are the first teachers also. Juana, why do parents, why do we have to use our voice for our kids so that I can be heard? Olga, my problems is sometimes that I cannot communicate what I think with things for my children, and I accept what education decides to do. This is a point there where we find the voices, our own voices. We have to find them. Good morning, Claudia. Isabel, we are the lawyers of our children. This is all beautiful. I love all this, and I can feel the power in you in this meeting, virtual meeting, and how Olga is saying sometimes she doesn't know what to say. The idea today is to provide this information, some ideas, so that you can bring these ideas to your group, to your bilingual parents, and then you can decide these are some of the things that we want for our children in our schools. Parents face great challenges with remote learning. These are some of the answers from Latin Americans especially, but many parents, I think, have had this same challenge in their lives. 81% of Latino parents in Illinois are concerned that their children are lagging behind because they have missed school for many days. 46% try to be their teachers, school teachers at home for their children when are when schools were connected. 36% indicates that school online has been difficult due to technical problems. 30% does not have enough computers for all the persons at home that now work and go to school online.
Vamos a dar un momento para reacciones, Rebeca,
We are waiting for reactions. We're
quieren
to see if
comentar
there's some type
los
of reactions for parents
estadísticos.
or if they would
Por
like to
favor,
comment these statistics.
tratar de
Please, at this point,
reaccionar y darles tiempo.
try to have a reaction and give them time. You can react on the chat or live.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Liliana.
Good
Yo creo
afternoon. My
muchas
name is
veces que
Liliana.
los padres no
I believe
apoyamos a
that
nuestros
often
hijos
if
y
parents
nada más
do not
escuchamos las
advocate for
decisiones
our
que
children and
los
we only accept the
administradores nos
decisions
dan,
that the
no se me hace que
administrators
sea justo
give, I
porque
think that
todos
this is not a
utilizan
just way
sin
because they
nosotros
make
escuchar
decisions
lo que
for
los niños
us without
verdaderamente necesitan.
listening to what the families
Pero
need.
muchos sí lo hacen
But
porque no
Very often they do this because they do not know what we need. So if we do not communicate our needs, our concerns, that we are the main ones with our children. So communicate this to them so that they can do their job better. We cannot judge them to say if we ourselves we do not let them know what our needs. It is like the census. If we do not decide, someone else is going to decide for us. Anyone else? When you read these numbers, does this influence what you think about your needs, the needs of your children? Do these numbers have an influence? Hello. I do not know if I agree because, for instance, 81% of Latino parents in Illinois are concerned that their children are lagging behind. I am working in a school, but I see that teachers, even if they're not bilingual, they provide parents information on the next quiz or a test that is coming. And we ask them, and we ask the children, did you study math in the multiplication? No, they can because I had to go to the store. So I see a lot that teachers are the one that try to help the children. But the answers or the comments made by the children are different. I, as a parent, as a mother at home, I try, I look at their homework, let's study. But if I do not concern myself on this, I cannot tell the district that you're not helping my child. So I think, I don't know how I feel about that. But as they say, parents are the first advocates for students. And I feel that in many schools, they're helping and putting out their part. But also parents, they have internet to be in Facebook, etc. That is my opinion. Both of them have to work on this.
Ya, y también quiero comentar, Rebeca,
And also I would like to comment
cada experiencia de un padre es
that
diferente,
each
estamos en
experience of
diferentes
a parent is
posiciones,
different. We are in different
quizás
positions,
estén
and
tratando
maybe
de ayudar a sus hijos,
they are
pero las
trying to help their
circunstancias que hemos
children.
visto y
But
estando
the circumstances
documentadas
that we
en
have seen
investigaciones es
and are
que
documented
hay
by
momentos en
research
los que padres
is that there are a lot of
tienen que enfrentar y
challenges
esto, entonces
that
cada
parents have to
experiencia es
face.
diferente.
So each
ah,
experience is different.
Tratar de tener eso en mente también.
And
Vamos a
try to
tomar
keep this in mind
una
also.
respuesta más
So we're going
o
to
podemos
take
tomar
one
rápidamente
more answer.
sí, seguir
Can I give
con
my
la
opinion,
próxima
please?
sección.
And then we will continue for the following section. Can I also give my opinion? My name is Linda Montejano. I have this 101 freshman math, but I am also a mother. So one thing is work, and the other thing, as Mrs. Sidi said, it is true that school does everything, whatever possible for students, but it's very difficult for us as parents. I am a Mexican American mother. It is not easy, and I do believe that 81%, and maybe more, because for us it is very difficult. I have a daughter, 11-year-old, and a 16-year-old boy, and a girl, 17, and others that are already adults. But they're the ones under my roof, and I have to work, take care of them, and also depend that they are putting their effort too. So it is not, and school is doing everything. I am evidence that I work at the district with my 17 and 16-year-old children. They're doing everything. I'm really proud of working for that to work for that district because I can see both sides of the coin. So as a mother, I can say it is so difficult that I think most of all, I think it was the pandemic, COVID, and my boy now, he was not complete. I had enough. Why do you have something that is not complete? You are in your bed, and it is exactly that, that he's lying on bed, and I'm not there to do a follow-up. So, and while I am doing one thing, they're doing something else. It's very difficult. Thank you, Lena, for sharing. We appreciate all the participation. And now we are going to talk about these resources that will help children. Each parent has different resources, different needs for their children. So because we only have some time together, we are going to continue with the presentation. Rebecca, at this point, is going to talk to us with after Erika goes afterwards with the funding of the state is receiving. I think that we have seen many important perspectives, and as Rosario stated, these are answers from a research, a survey for parents in Illinois, but does not mean that everyone thinks that way. And as a commentary, I think that many parents are worried for their children because it has been a very difficult year. There are others that say that they had a good experience at home and they liked it. But I think there are many active persons. But when we think in some points that maybe they are still technical needs, or some of you think that they are emotional needs for some of their kids. I think that you have to think about that because now that we know that there's money, federal money coming in, we can begin to think on those needs when we advocate in school of how this money can be used. So I think we are going to do the transition to my colleague Erika. Thank you, Rebecca. My name is Erika Mendez, as was commented. And we know that many of the challenges learning during this year have been very difficult, that we're talking about. And many of the resources that arrive from the federal government can provide help for these challenges that we are facing because parents cannot do everything, schools cannot do everything with the limited resources. And now that we have more money, maybe we can have more resources and programs that will help us. And to ensure the academic recovery, social and emotional of the students, we have we have to see investments that will help bilingual students specifically. And the federal government a year ago, because of the pandemic, has developed several academic programs to provide support to the country. So so for health, for well-being, emotional well-being of the families, and economic and educational. Now we are focusing on the educational part. So now the help we have received.
The state of Illinois is going to receive $7.8 billion in education for the entire state. And these resources are going to be divided to the different districts of low income. And the use of the money is going to be for to provide the to prevent and the infection of COVID, to clean and disinfect the schools, and they will try to use this to clean the filters, the air filters for schools, and they are also trying to have these funds to help on the intervention for the loss of learning and support for the students. Next slide, please. Also, we know that there are several programs, educational programs, that supplement the education that the students receive from kindergarten until high school. And there are a lot of helps that they receive as parents that a lot have received from the government, federal government, and like preschool or Head Start, that are the children for 3 or 4 years old, the program of children care. When you go to work and you need someone to take care of your children after school. So the Head Start has received $39.6 million. That's a program for preschool for children for 3 or 4 years old, and also the child care development background that are support for daycare support that received 831 million. And between the money that we have received, we have another fund that is 47 million for that the government had the discretion to designate how these funds are going to be used, and it's very flexible. There's no requirements and there's no specific need. Here we decides how to allocate it to districts or schools. And between the money that was received, we also received some help for children that have, for example, delay on development, especially at 3 years old, for primary intervention, early intervention, that have received more than $20,000, and also $8,000 for support for students that are children that receive special education in schools, children that have IEP. Next slide, please. And even though that we have received a lot of resources from the government, the federal government, we also need an increase for these programs in the budget of the Illinois state. That means that we have received a lot of money from the United States, but each year in the state that we live, there's a budget to increase what the program receives, because the federal money only gets to us one time, and we have to sustain the programs for a long time to be able to have access for the children. So to be able to have an equilibrium within the program, we need to talk with the local people and the people that the decisions makers, to be able to increase the money that gets to these programs. So for education, the public education, that is kindergarten to high school, there is 350 billion for education that are needed for this year. Governor promised that it was going to invest this money, but we have other programs, as I told you, that also help education, for early education, that facilitates the ability for the parents to participate and to help and advocate for their children. We need 50 more million for early childhood block grant, that is for the state, 4 million for attention programs at home for new parents, that for someone to get to their houses and help them to understand a new baby, for example. 25 million for the program of early intervention for children that may have, let's say, they're not developing, being able to talk, that the doctor may say that there's a person that can come and help you in your house. And also for 430 million for the program of child care. We need your voice to help and guide the decisions in how these funds are going to be used to support the bilingual children. My colleague Rosario Hernández is gonna tell you the opportunities of advocacy in which you can increase these strategies in your schools and your districts. Thank you,
Como
Erika.
padre,
We're gonna continue. So, as a parent, you are a natural defensor for your child, right? So you understand their needs and their strengths, and you can help to identify those resources that can help your child to develop. So, about federal financing that the schools have received because of the pandemic, and that my peer Erika already told, this presents opportunities for investment in support that are very much needed for children and teachers and the school personnel. So we are going, and the staff in general. So we're going to explore some investments that can be done or opportunities to influence in the decisions of financing with the resources of COVID-19 that the schools have received. So we have here three sections. The first, we're gonna go into detail on each one. You can see can help your school to associate or partner with community organizations to cover the basic needs and provide the integral services to support their community. So, as we said in the beginning of the pandemic, when the schools closed their doors and all of the children had to learn remotely, a lot of the services as food and counseling and services as health, mental health, and all of those, they didn't have access to those services because they could not go into the schools. So other things that we saw is that a lot of the organizations, community organizations, those were the ones who were offering these services virtually. So what we want to do is to create those opportunities for the future and to continue this support for the children and for the families. So it's something that the schools can do and can associate with the community organizations to offer those services, health services. So here on detail, we can see other examples that the schools can do. I'm not gonna go into detail to all of them, but just to give you an idea, I'm gonna read three or four of these issues. One is going to be to make surveys for the families to identify their needs. This is very important to know what are the needs that the parents have. We have to ask them just to know what are their priorities for their children? So we have heard now that the mental health services are very important because children have isolated and they haven't had opportunities to be with their schoolmates and or children for of their ages. So that has affected a lot throughout this year. And also a lot of children, a lot of parents have said that, oh, I want my child to go back to their normal behavior because before he was very happy and he was, I don't know, laughed a lot, but now he's more serious. He is isolated and he's in his phone, right? So their behaviors have changed, and the parents have told us that they want bilingual services for our children, for our family, and because we have passed through hard times because of the pandemic, and we know that a lot of people have suffered of losing someone that they really love and stuff like that. So those are the transitions in life that really impact the people, and we have to talk with someone sometimes about those kinds of situations, right? So we also have created a list of bilingual personnel that works at school, and that is something that schools can do so that the families are able to know who to contact, and if they have a question so that they can call a person that talks his own language, and to be able to ask those questions and talk with them and try to know, okay, I need to contact this person. I have this list and I can do that, right? Also, it's important to, as I have mentioned before, the mental health services are very important, and it's very important also to obtain the consent of the parents to be able to provide those services and receive those services. So give and say to the school to have those services so that the children can receive those services on mental health issues and can do it and have the consent, so the process can be done more fast and can be done, right? So, and to know that the families have the information that for of the services, so that we know that the services sometimes are not, let's say, families that are undocumented may not qualify for those services. So it's important for the schools to tell the families what are the services for them in which they are eligible, right? So not to have any confusion and no to so that they have the confidence and trust. The second section of this part is to um, to tell the school to develop plans to support remote learning, hybrid learning, and in person, also digital and non digital. We have a lot of transitions, we have a lot of students that are in remote learning, we have hybrid, we have in person learning. So, as we have different styles of learning at the moment, it's important to create those resources so that the children can access and know what is the plan, right? And you also. So this is very important so that the teachers that are giving these services and are showing and teaching students at their house or in person or hybrid, it's completely different ways that they're teaching. So it's very important for them to be able to provide this professional development so that they teach children English learning children, because a lot of the students English students have different resources, because if they're in a remote learning, I know that those kinds of learning are very hard for English speaking students. So it's important that the teachers know what helps the most to develop the children that are learning at home. Or if they are in a hybrid way, that they also have those opportunities of practice English language or different opportunities to practice, right? So also to create a learning plan, digital learning plan for students. And I know, and we know that the resources for English or bilingual students is very important, because when they are learning remotely, right? And also to offer training for teachers for trauma, to help them and the students on their families. And I know that this year has been very hard for students and families that have had a lot of losses and problems throughout the year. So it's important that the teachers recognize certain things to be able to support children on a certain way, or refer them to the counselors and to know how or what can be presented, those behavior, how those behaviors are going to be presented, to be able to identify those behaviors, to refer the children and students to the correct person, to develop also a support plan for families. So how to use the learning platforms at home. This is another one that I heard a lot of parents that said that they know a little bit about it, but the program, the specific program that they use at school, is not so easy to use, and I'm not familiarized with that program. So I need a little bit of help to understand how that program works and be able to help my child. And also to encourage the school to prioritize the family participation in the efforts of communication virtually and in person, and to answer to the needs of the community of their diverse community. So it's very important that schools are taking your voice, your parents' voice. To the last year, you have been at home with your children, and you have a lot of knowledge of how to support your children, how to help your children, and what is that helps them to continue and improve within school. So the first example that we have here is that to guarantee e- the equal interchange of information, not on, in various languages, not only English, because there's a lot of languages that the parents talk, and it's important that the information is communicated in a way that the parents understand it, and to associate it with the members that are respected within the community. Sometimes the information that parents receive, it's, oh, okay, well, if I receive it from a teacher, then it's more comfortable for me, and if I receive it from the community, it's a resources that maybe that I trust more. So it's important for them to be associated with members that are respected within the community to receive the information, right? And also to develop a communication campaign with positive messages for the parents. And someone said at the beginning that of this presentation that the parents are the first teacher, and I really believe that you parents are the first teacher in the life of your children, and you continue to be the teachers. And also, I commend you. I commend you, and we celebrate parents for all the efforts that you have done, and to promote that idea of that you are the first and most important teacher of your children, and you offer a lot of tools, and you provide the support for your children that they need for them to feel good about themselves, and their words, your support words really change and help the development, social and emotional development of your children. So I know that a lot of this presentation we have just given information of things that you can do, and how services that you can advocate. But what I want to give you a question at this moment is tell you what kind of support do students, English learning students, need in their school, or your child, or your daughter or son, anything that have in your school. What kind of support do you need? Well, your children need, and as I said, it's a lot of saying things that you can do, but as an organization that we advocate for the community, we also need, and it's important for us, your opinion, your voices, and your point of view as an advocate for your services. And so we take that into consideration. And if you have any comments, any answers, please put it in the chat box, and we can share with everybody your opinion. We will record in all of your informations. We will record the chat, and we will get together, my colleagues and I, after the presentation, to be able to review all of the answers that you have given us. So please give us information. Here also, we have complied with the program of today. We will send you a document with all of this information, and we will send it to you to IRC, so that you have access for of all the information that we have given throughout this presentation. And also at this moment, I will give the word to Rebecca or Lorita if they want to say something before. And that document includes everything that Rosario was talking about, the information that Erika was using also, and we want you to use the document as a resource, as a discussion conversation with other parents within school, to be able to say, okay, yes, in this sense the school is has supported us, but I think that we can use more help in this way or maybe at this way, so it can be in a certain way to discuss things, to have a conversation. Erika, do you want to say anything else? If this is the document that is gonna be shared, and this is a document that maybe you can say, well, I want to have a conversation with the principal or with other bilingual parents, and to use this document as a basis for that conversation, to be able to know what we have done as a district to have these things within our schools and what we haven't done. How can we develop the way to use these funds and to have this system within our schools and our districts? So, yes, it is a way to start the conversation, to start being done, and what can be done with the resources, right? And the funds.